Greetings, everybody. God's Final Jubilee program. I'm your host, Evangelist Dan Goodwin. It's good to have you with us today. And I got some important things to share with you. Let me get a few preliminaries out of the way first. This is February the 20th. And we're leaving here, my wife and I, in the morning early. And we're headed to Missouri and then on to Oklahoma City. Doing interviews with Southwest Radio Church on Friday the 24th. Those will air later on in March, I suppose. And then Monday I'm doing interviews with Prophecy News TV. So you can keep an eye out for those. They're always a few weeks behind when you after you do an interview. So those will be coming out here pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. And let's see what else. I want to make sure I'm plugged in up there. Anyway, Sunday, the 26th of February, I'm going to be at a church in Oklahoma City. Let me just get you the address here. It's First Baptist Church of Midway Village. It's in the Oklahoma City area near the Air Force Base. Here's the address from the website. 4101 Thomas Drive, Del City, Oklahoma. So you can rewind it and get that if you need to. That's where we're going to be. And I doubt you'd be able to see that on your screen or not, but anyway, the address is there. It's on my Facebook page. You can actually click on it and sign up for it. There's no cost, obviously. You don't even have to tell anybody you're coming, but we'll be there. I'm going to do PowerPoint. I'll be doing Sunday school. During Sunday school, actually, I'm going to do what I call a trip through Revelation. I start with Revelation chapter 1. And I go somewhere. I try to get as far as I can. Usually get to about Revelation 9, but I give a little summary of actually the first half of the tribulation period, and it's usually pretty exciting, and folks glean from that. And then I'm going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation for the Sunday morning service at 11. And then a PowerPoint Sunday night. And Sunday night I know I'm going to be doing about the 6,000-year Earth and some things about the Jewish calendar and all that. Very exciting things. Sunday morning, not 100% sure yet. Possibly the 7 Feasts, maybe the Jubilee, I don't know. But anyway, if you're anywhere near Oklahoma City and would like to come, if you get my newsletter, there's a write-up in the newsletter about it, the directions and the times and the address is all there. And but if you don't, you can go to my Facebook page. The newsletter's on the Facebook page. By the way, the Facebook is God's Final Jubilee. Just go to Facebook, type in God's Final Jubilee. If you're not already a member on there, you ought to like the page, and we put a lot of information there. And so that's there. That's what we're doing this coming week. We're doing interviews Friday with Southwest Radio Church, interviews Monday with Prophecy News, and preaching all day Sunday at Pastor Samuel Turk's church. This is a brand new church for me, and we're excited about going there. Going to be a great time, and going to preach some interesting things. Hopefully, share some things that will be a help to folks concerning the soon return of the Lord Jesus Christ. And all right, so all the hoopla, I don't know if you can see in the video there, the DVD that's hanging there, but this is what's going on. We got a brand new DVD just came out. Can you see that there? I'll try to keep the glare off it. It's called Prophecy Unsealed, and we've been working on this. Many of you know about it, and we've been working on this for some time. And this is volume 1 of what's going to be a 4-volume set, Prophecy Unsealed. I'm trying to keep the glare off it for you there. Prophecy Unsealed. And this is a 2-DVD set, professionally done. Very nice, as you can see there, 2 discs. There are 4 messages, 2 on each disc. Let's see, on these discs, on disc 1 is the 7 Feasts, God's prophetic calendar, 39 minutes long. The second session is the Jubilee, 33 minutes long, and these all have my PowerPoint presentations in them. Disc number 2 is the barley harvest, and that's 32 minutes long, and Time no longer, when time shall be no more. That's what I'm going to be doing Sunday night in Oklahoma City. That one's 42 minutes long. So these are professionally done. My PowerPoint is actually in them to where you can see my charts and timelines and different things. If you've ever been to one of my conferences where I do a PowerPoint presentation, this is it. And this is what you're going to get. So this is volume 1. There'll be 4 volumes when it's complete. Every couple of months we'll be putting out another volume, and with some different subjects on them. So we're very excited about this, and very, very excited that these have come out, and they are out, and so I think they'll be a help to you. If you by the way, nobody has these yet. There's none been shipped. Except for Southwest Radio and Prophecy News. They got one because I'm headed there to do interviews, and I had to overnight one to them. But we just got these. In fact, I got just a few of them expressed to me. But the case will be here tomorrow. I have a whole box full of pre-orders. My daughter's going to mail them because we're going to be gone. My daughters all the labels are printed. If you pre-ordered this DVD set, it will go out tomorrow, the 21st of February, I promise. And my daughter is going to mail those. So you'll have those, depending on where you live, by Saturday, I would think. And so keep an eye out for them. Appreciate all of you who pre-ordered the DVD set, and that was a help to us. And now they are on the website. You can go to godsfinaljubilee.com. You can actually order the DVD, and we'll get them right out to you. So you can read the back cover for yourself. I won't take the time to read it, but anyway, you can order on the website, and this will be a great help to you, I promise. And it'll help you understand some of these things that I've been trying to get across to folks. And all right, in just a minute, I've got something important that I'm going to share with you prophetically. I've got a date for you that I want you to get down. So let me give you this here. We've also got a prophecy conference coming up in July. If you go to my Facebook page, if you get the newsletter, it's in there. In July 20th, 21st, 22nd, we're going to be just a few minutes from Noah's Ark. And we're going to have a conference there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in July. It's going to be wonderful. And I'll be doing PowerPoint presentations there. We'll be have my books there. We'll be discussing these things, and we're going to get to go and see the Ark while we're there. So some of you out there that are my friends out there, I got a lady from California coming. Others have said they're coming. So seats are going to fill up fast. You'll want to go to my. I guess it's on my Facebook page. I'm not sure, but anyway. I'll put a link. I'll get some links up there, but you have to sign up, and you have to get on the list. There's only so many seats available, so you'll want to check that out. May 7th, I believe. I believe I'm going to be in Niagara Falls on May 7th. So if you keep an eye on my Facebook page, my website, be sure to sign up for the newsletter at godsfinaljubilee.com. You'll get all this stuff every week. I send a newsletter out. All this stuff is there. So. I'm trying to think what else. I guess that's about it. All right, now let me share something with you here. I want you to get a calendar. I want you to look at your calendar. I want you to put a note on in the month of March, just a few weeks away. I want you to write down a little note at March the 27th. No, I'm not. That's not the day of the rapture. That could be, but that's not the date of the rapture. March 27th is the date that the Levites in Bible days would have looked at the barley harvest in the field to determine Abib. Now, if you don't have a clue what I just said, Brother Gil, what do you mean he determines Abib? If you don't have a clue what I just said there, then you need to get the barley harvest book, this one here, and you need to read that thing. Very important. This is another piece of the puzzle that's in this book right here. And you need to hear about that. The barley is a type of Israel. The barley represents Israel. And what they did in Bible days, you'll see this in Exodus. God says in Exodus 12, he says, I brought you out in the month Abib. And what that means is, when the barley harvest was ripe, that's when God had Passover, and that's when he brought Israel out of Egypt. Passover has to be during the barley harvest. I got a little saying that I say, and it's in the book. I say this: no barley, no Abib. No Abib, no Passover. In other words, it cannot be Passover if there's no barley, if it's not Abib or ripe. The word Abib simply means to be ripe, the ripeness of the barley. And if the barley is not ripe, what they would do in Bible days, they would add a leap month. They would add a whole month to the calendar to reset the calendar. Because there's only 354 days on a lunar calendar, which is what they use. So about every 3 years, they're a whole month off, right? So every 2 or 3 years or 4 years, depending on the weather, they would have a reset. And Passover month would be announced by announcing Abib. Are you with me there? They would announce it's Abib. If the barley's ripe, it's Abib. And that means Passover would be 14 days later, because that date that they would announce that would be the evening of the month Adar. The last month, right before Passover month, on that last day, they would announce it's either Abib or it becomes Adar 2, leap year month. All right? Now, what's that got to do with March 27th? What that has to do with March 27th is this. March 27th on the Jewish calendar is that last day of Adar. And if the barley is ripe on that day, if God looks down from heaven and looks at Israel and says they're ripe, they're ready, they're Abib, then that would be the day that it would be announced that it's Abib. And Passover is in 14 days from that. Are you with me there? And very interesting. I'm not saying that something has to happen with Israel on that exact day, but what if it did? What if something happened on March 27th that had something to do with Israel? Can you think of anything? How about all this talk we've been hearing about moving the embassy to Jerusalem, where it should be, by the way. Jerusalem's the capital. It's the holy city. And can you imagine if on March 27th we moved our U.S. embassy into Jerusalem? Do you think that would be significant? Do you think that would be interesting? I think it would be. If that should happen, I'd be. That doesn't mean that God has hit the reset button, but it sure would be an interesting thing, and it could be the reset, which would mean 7 months to the day would be Tishri 1 on the Jewish calendar. Remember now, a lot of confusion on this. You need to read this book right here. It'll change your life. Listen, the calendar, you cannot schedule Passover a year in advance. Let me say this, you can't schedule Passover 30 days in advance. Because Passover is not determined, Passover month, which is the month of Abib, is not determined until the barley is determined to be ripe. Now listen, they're not stupid over there. The Jews in Bible days were not stupid. They knew a couple weeks in advance. They already knew if the barley was going to be ripe or not. They were pretty smart, right? But it wasn't official until on that last day of Adar. That was the official date that the high priest would make the announcement, it's Abib, and this is Passover month. Passover's in 14 days. However, 6 months earlier, you couldn't plan something with your family. You couldn't plan 6 months earlier, you couldn't plan your Pentecost vacation a year in advance or even 6 months in advance. Because Pentecost is 50 days after first fruits, which is just 53 days after Passover. You don't know when Passover is until the barley is ripe. So Passover could be one of 2 months, right? Do you see where this leads? No man knows the day or the hour of Passover until 30 days before Passover. 30 days before, or 2 weeks before Passover, on that last day of Adar, when Abib is announced by the ripeness of the barley. So every year there's a reset. It's either going to stay as scheduled, or there's going to be a leap month there. So nobody could know from year to year when Passover was. Now do you realize what that means? Now Passover is the first of the 7 feasts. Takes place on the 14th of Abib. We call it Nisan, but it's the month of Abib. That takes place there. And Passover determines the rest of the 6 feasts. All 7 feasts are hinged upon Passover month, beginning at the month of the barley harvest. So do you see what that means? That means all 7 of the feasts, or the date of them, is determined by the scheduling of Abib, the scheduling of Passover. So the looking at the barley and determining that it's Abib affects the whole 7-month biblical calendar in Israel. Now that verse that we often quote, no man knows the day or the hour, does that make a little more sense to you now? No man knows the day or the hour, because no man knows when Tishri 1 is. Nobody knows when the Feast of Trumpets is. Why is that? Because nobody knows what month it's going to be, because they don't know. You don't know from year to year if there's going to be a leap year month in there. Now what they do now, and this is all in the book, what they do now is they automatically computerize, mathematically they have already figured Passover 1,000 years in the future. You can go on the computer and you can find Passover any year in the future, but that's not biblical. That's not the biblical way. That is not Abib. There are times that they celebrate Passover, but it's not. There's no barley. The barley's not right. That is not right. That's not according to the Bible. It's not Abib if there's no Passover. Did you know that on the Feast of First Fruits, 3 days after Passover, did you know they had to wave a sheaf of barley, the first fruits? Did you know if there's no barley, you can't wave a sheaf of barley? Right? So this is pretty important stuff, and it's pretty simple stuff, I might add, that most of us, almost everybody, has missed this. And so pretty interesting. So barley becomes interesting. Of course, there's 3 harvests in Israel: barley, wheat, and the fruit. The barley harvest is around Passover. By the way, barley lasts all the way into the wheat harvest, almost. And the wheat harvest is at Pentecost time, and the fruit harvest is in the fall. During the Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Day of Atonement, and most, especially during the Feast of Tabernacles. But that whole 2-week period there is during the fruit harvest. And of course, we're supposed to go forth and bear fruit, and he's coming, and he's gonna take that fruit, right? So that's symbolic of that. So the barley is Israel, the wheat is the church, Pentecost, the wheat. And by the way, on Pentecost, the Jews would bake 2 loaves of bread. They'd bake a loaf of barley and a loaf of wheat together, side by side, not even realizing prophetically what that means. That's talking about during the church age. There's no difference in the Jew and Gentile. We serve side by side in the church. And but the day is coming when God's going to take the wheat out, and the barley, God's going to once again deal with the barley during the tribulation period. All right, so March 27th is an interesting date, and I want you to keep an eye on that. And I'm not a date setter. I'm not saying that means the rapture is coming, and I'm not saying it means that's God's reset if something happens on that day. I'm saying it could be. You know, the fall of 2017 is to me a very interesting time. My Jubilee book. I'm not a date setter, but if you read my Jubilee chapter and my chapter called 2520, you know that way back in 2014. I was leaning towards 2017, and I've not changed my mind about that. 2017 sure looks like a good year for the coming of the Lord, and now you may not. And I highly urge you not to do anything foolish. I don't think you should trade in your life insurance policy. Don't do stupid things like that. But you live expecting that He may come today, but you plan that you're going to be an old man. But I'm telling you, the things are lining up, and it's amazing. There's a whole bunch more I could share with you, but for now we'll cut her off there. And so keep an eye on this coming month. By the way, it doesn't have to happen on the last day of Adar. The high priest, that's when it's officially determined that it's Abib. But a couple weeks before that, anytime in March, it could be easily determined that, hey, the barley's ready. God in heaven's going to look down at the nation of Israel and determine they're Abib, they're ready for the end times, they're ready for the church to be removed, and God hits the reset button, and 7 months later to the day, the new moon on the month Tishri is the sounding of the trumpet in heaven. I believe that. And yes, I believe we should be looking and waiting and expecting the Lord any day. But the closer we get to the end, and now that we understand God has unsealed and revealed His 7-feast calendar, the prophetic calendar, it sure looks to me like Feast of Trumpets is that day that the Lord sounds the trumpet in heaven and Jesus comes for His bride. So, all right, go to the website, check out the DVD set, and you're going to want this. This will be a big help to people, and we're very excited about these. You know, a lot of people don't read anymore, and I'm going to keep writing books. I've got another book coming out soon, and but we're gonna really specialize and work on these DVDs. I'm trying to get the glare off it there, because I think they're going to help a lot of people. And a lot of folks can't read, or maybe don't have time, or just not a reader. And these DVDs, I think, will be a big help. Now, everything obviously is a lot more in the books than you're going to get on a 35-minute session. But it's a little over 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I think, on these. So on the website, you can look at it. We'll get them on Amazon. They're not on there as of today, but we'll work on that. I just have not had a chance. But we'll get them on Amazon. I know some of you are devout Amazon people, and everything you buy is on Amazon. I will get the DVD on there. Just be patient. And all right, if anybody's in the Oklahoma City area, we'd like to see shout out, give us a shout and let us know you're coming. We'd love to meet you. And by the way, I'll have the DVDs there if you want to get them. I'll have DVDs with me on Sunday. Brand new, so we'll have them there if you happen to make it there. So, all right, so go to the website, check out what's going on Facebook. Make sure you get on the Facebook page, God's Final Jubilee, and sign up for the newsletter, godsfinaljubilee.com. A box will pop up. Make sure that you have signed up for the newsletter, because if you did, you'd already know about a lot of these things that I'm sharing with you now. So, all right, exciting days. Exciting days going on in politics, and let me say this in closing. The only thing I'm going to say about politics in this YouTube video is this right here. With all that's going on, Donald Trump's the president, and it seems like things are really happening and turning around. Remember this one thing: it's not about America anymore, my friend. America has done what God raised us up to do. We've got the gospel around the world. We have protected and got Israel into their land. And my friend, it's not about America anymore. It's about Israel. I believe God raised up Mr. Trump and his administration for one purpose: to establish Jerusalem as the capital, to provide assistance to the building of the temple, or having it ready to go up very quickly, and to protect them from their enemies, and so that the end times can take place. And that's what I believe this is all about. So keep that in mind. And it's about Israel. And I don't know if you saw Haley's comment. Did you see? It's on I posted on the Facebook page. Haley's comment. That's Haley. She's the UN advisor. She gave a pretty good little speech about Israel and the UN Security Council. Go to the Facebook page and see that. They're calling her Haley's Comment. And she took a stand for America with the nation of Israel, and I like that. And that's what it's about, my friend. It's about Israel. Well, we're going to cut her off there. This is the God's Final Jubilee program. I'm your host, Evangelist Dan Goodwin. Check out the website if you don't have the Barley Harvest book or the Jubilee book. Highly suggest you get it. You can get it on Kindle on Amazon if you're a Kindle person. And we've got other books on the website you can check out. But pray for us as we travel to Oklahoma and go on, do some interviews and preach at a church on Sunday. And my friend, keep your eyes open. Things are happening, and they're happening fast. Be watching when the Lord comes back. And be watching in the month of March, especially somewhere around March 27th, which is Adar, the 29th of Adar, that last day of the month Adar. The next month is either Passover month or it's leap year. Now, on the Jewish calendar, it's not leap year. We had leap year last year. But they don't do it right. You can ignore that. You can ignore that. God has his own system, and Israel is not using God's system. The barley determines Abib. The barley determines Passover. And the barley, or the nation of Israel, we determine the reset and the beginning of end-time events and the beginning of that final 7-month prophetic calendar. All right, I know that's a lot to get in your head, so I'll cut her off there, and we'll see you next time.